In the end, life is about perception. Like, is losing money a bad thing? Well, yeah, it's a bad thing. Was losing money on that asset a bad thing? Well, probably. The lesson I learned out of it, was it a good thing that turned that negative situation into a positive? Yeah, 100%. And so I think in gratitude, you turn everything that is a perceived
Mhm.
loss or issue into an opportunity or a lesson. Based on how you rehearse gratitude is how fast you learn the lesson and how fast you get the opportunity ahead of it.
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
So my guest today is a guy named Eddie Wilson. Eddie is super intentional. If you look him up, you can't not think that's true of him. You're big on buying back time, but then investing time into people and organizations. It's not all about you; it's about other people. You've crushed it with businesses, 125 businesses. You've exited
Plus.
90 plus.
Mhm.
Yeah, plus. We could talk about that all day long, but Eddie, kind of tell me how you got started. I mean, you've always been
Sure.
a serial entrepreneur, I take it?
No, I actually got started in corporate America. Started off in television and radio, and actually built a television show. And that was my first exit. Was built a program when I was in my early 20s, and that gave me some early capital to get started in what I'm doing today. But yeah, my father's an entrepreneur, my mother's an entrepreneur, so I get it honestly. And so as I was in corporate America, I always just felt like as if you see your parents are entrepreneurs, they're constantly talking about how they can make their business better or how they can make
Mhm.
this change. And so you just constantly see that in the businesses that you work for. And so I couldn't help but feel like I could do it better, or I could create a better environment to work in, or I could create a better output for my customers. And so it was just that drive inside that really drove me to what I do today. But yeah, that was the start for sure.
If you don't mind, what did your parents do as entrepreneurs?
Sure. So my father, he was an operating engineer and left that and started a roofing company.
Okay.
He did it mainly because, as an operating engineer in Cleveland, Ohio, it was seasonal, and so he just
Mm,
wanted a side hustle. So he started a roofing company. Then he ended up buying a drywall company off of another guy.
mhm.
And then he got into excavation, and so then he got into real estate investment, and then it just kind of went from there. My mother, um, actually, she was diagnosed with breast cancer with an early detection advice where it takes thermal images of the body,
Okay.
and so she went into that really to try to help other women find early detection. And now she's got multiple cameras that travel from hospital to hospital, and she's got her whole medical kind of program that she's built, and did it based out of a need that she had, and then found
Mm.
the opportunity, and has built quite a business there.
Business is always about serving more people, right?
It
The
is
more you serve, the better you'll do.
always.
Yeah. And when it becomes about you, then it everyone sees through that. So that's
Every,
really cool. I mean, what a story she has on
sure.
first really needing it, but then now giving it
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
It's one of my father's great, messages to me growing up was, find somebody you can serve, find someone who
mhm,
needs served, and, serve them to your greatest ability. And you'll never lack for money. You'll never lack for employment. You'll never lack for opportunities. And so most of the businesses that I have today are built from that framework. It's a service model, so I have a lot of products and services that we have in all the companies that I still own. But for the most part, it's based on a community and looking at data science on what that community needs, and then
yeah.
building it to serve that community.
Eddie, what has been your favorite business over the years?
Mm. Whatever my last one was, like I love businesses. I would say though that the one that's probably nearest and dear to my heart is the coffee company that I built, because that was
Mhm.
a passion project. I was traveling the world with my nonprofit, doing a bunch of philanthropic things, and I would, you're over there serving the world, and I would do, I tried to just get away, and I don't want to take days at a time. So I would just
Yeah.
go find a good cup of coffee, or I'd find a
Mm,
motorcycle to ride in a foreign country or something. And that was kind of my thing. And so I'd come back to the US in Atlanta where I lived, and the coffee just was never as good as the coffee I was in the mountains of Guatemala or in Ethiopia or somewhere like that. And so decided to bring back the top 2% of the world's coffee back
mm,
to the United States, roasted here, and created a coffee brand that's all about give back. And so all the
mm.
companies I have, I call them, I believe in capitalism. I think that businesses
Yeah.
should serve the consumer and they should make a profit. And may the best, business, best product, best service win, right? That's the nature of
Mhm,
capitalism. But I believe in cause capitalism. It should have some greater,
mhm.
some greater cause, some greater opportunity tied to the revenue or the profit that you generate. And so the coffee company was actually the first the company I built where I was going to give all my personal proceeds away. And then it
Okay.
had a give back model in it. And so that was, it was, the name of it's Because Coffee.
Mhm.
We always say that our coffee is amazing, but it comes with a great cause. And then we have retail coffee shops around the Southeast called Myth and Legend Coffee House. And so that business I'm in love with, I think, because it was my first real step into, I'm going to give all the proceeds of what I
Yeah.
create away in this business.
Have you read this book here in the background, Go Giver?
Many times.
Yeah, it's a good one, huh?
It's a great book.
And he's got the coffee in that too.
He does. Yep, he does. He does.
I had him on my podcast earlier this week, so
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he still emulates that go-giving mentality, you
Yeah,
know.
he's awesome. I love, he's done a great job at really being the curator of businesses. And,
Mhm.
I grew up in a very faith-based world and, faith-based household. And so the mindset was always on, kind of like expressing your faith and taking your faith, to someone else. And, and it's interesting because in the context of religion and faith, they kind of like pull business out of it. But it's like I see
Yeah.
religion, faith, like kind of that component of it, especially in service of another, really needs fuel. And for the
Mhm.
first time, I saw, through that book, a really, merger of your belief systems and the things you're passionate about really tying to, because I always just thought, well, I'll just create big businesses and I'll give lots of money away. But I never actually saw the intertwined nature of how they
Mhm.
could be connected until I read that book. It's a great book.
You think too it probably helps the employees
100% it does. Yeah,
because they get on board, right?
if
And
you
it's
come,
not about you making money for you, it's
Mhm.
about somebody else.
I I think there's an unintentional consequence of sharing it with your employees. So we're sitting right now in Collective Influence, my private equity firm, and we've probably got 23 companies we run out of this office, probably about 110, 112 employees here. And we start almost every meeting with what impact we're making around the
Mhm.
world through the output of what they do. You fight off attrition. I'm a big on sharing everything with my employees. So
Yeah.
like I have a transparency kind of
Mhm.
mindset. I don't mind if they see how much I make. I don't mind if they see how much the company is profiting. Like that doesn't bother me a bit, down to the lowest employee, because I want to give it all away anyways. So it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So they actually get excited about the profit we make versus just thinking, oh, this guy's greedy and he wants to put more in his pocket.
Yeah. Um, no, and I think that's huge. And I think that anytime, well, I thought about talking to you about failing businesses,
Mhm.
but I would almost venture to say if the cause is right, the business can't fail, right? Like
It's
you
hard to
just
fail.
you just can't give as much as you thought you could.
Correct. There are businesses that truly have failed that I have
Sure.
purchased, or for one reason or another. One of the big businesses that failed recently that we bought 2 years ago now was a hormone replacement business where we felt like people were just saturating the marketplace with hormone replacement, both for men and women, and wanted to do it in an ethical way and wanted to do it really from a holistic approach
Yeah.
first, and then move into true supplemental medicine if needed. Well, I bought a clinic, nationwide clinic that was in 14 cities, and it had a COVID exemption. I was unaware of this COVID exemption to be able to actually mail prescriptive medicine in the mail. And so one doctor licensed in one state allowed you to send medicine out to
Mm,
all 50 states. That was the COVID exemption. I bought this business. It was never disclosed. So we went from having clients in 50 states to all of a sudden getting a notice that stating you can no longer send medicine through the mail, prescription medicine through the mail, except for where you carry the license at. Well, that was, a shocker. And that business did fail. It was one of those things where we looked at it. It was like, do we go back after the owner? Were they even aware when we
mm,
purchased this business? Was this just negligence on our due diligence, on our side? And what does it take to fix this? And to get licensed in 49 more states was just going to be too heavy of a
yeah,
lift, and too big of an investment for us. And so we wound that business down. We sold the assets of that business back
sure.
to another owner that made sense. But it was that was a failure on our part, right? That one did not actually succeed. Could I have taken it all the way down to one state and maybe, but it would have been losing money, and then the
And
juice
time.
wasn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah. Yeah. Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. Talk to me about the mindset, because a lot of people hit a failure and then they're done.
Mhm.
How do you just
Yeah.
decide we're just going to wind this down and move on?
Sure. So my father taught me one great lesson in business, and that was how to deal with fear. He left
Mm,
his job to actually follow and pursue something. And even though while growing up, there were times where we didn't have a lot of money, I watched my father struggle through it. He was always a great dad to me. He spent
yeah.
time with me when I needed it. And so I look at it and I think, well, man, what's the worst that can happen? I, struggle back through and I spend more time with my kids, and I'm intentional about my time. Um, my mom, the great lesson my mother taught me was gratitude in losses, or gratitude in the
Mm,
valleys that you have in life become catalyst for massive growth. So anytime you experience loss, if you can find gratitude for the lessons in the loss,
mm,
all of a sudden it's just like a catalyst. It's a slingshot. I learned that in the loss of my sister. My sister passed away, and my mother would consistently rehearse gratitude. And I say the word
mm,
rehearse very intentionally, because gratitude isn't something you just turn on and turn off. It's something that you rehearse. It has to be a
sure.
consistent methodology that you work through in your life. And my mom would do that all the time. I'd be struggling with the loss of my sister, and my mother would say, Eddie, tell me about the favorite toy that you played with her. Tell me about your favorite time, and aren't you grateful for the time? And she would just rehearse gratitude when I was just, I was really struggling. And then she would constantly say that, like, Eddie, gratitude in the deepest moments of life. You think about the emotional intelligence of a mother who lost a daughter,
Yeah.
who's coaching a son in gratitude and living it out in front of me. And so I got to tell you that life lessons from my mother has probably made me more money than anything
Mm,
else in the world, because in a situation like that, I can move very quickly to gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful for what and how, and is it the lesson? Is it the fact that we actually caught it in time? Is it that the FDA was gracious enough to send us a warning versus a fine? Like whatever it is, right? And that really was a big turning point for us in that loss, because we were going really hard after the health and fitness space
mhm,
inside of the kind of our private equity world, and decided to really kind of pause, take a look at it. And we decided that it was just really red ocean, and we needed to go harder at the areas that we were actually crushing it at. And it was that loss that really helped us kind of turn the corner and go heavier into financial
Okay.
services. And then we started selling off our assets in the health and fitness space. And that's really what's given us massive growth over the last, 12 months. So, it's gratitude.
Oh, it was a good thing.
That's the lesson. Yeah. I mean, in the end, life is about perception. Like,
Yeah.
is losing money a bad thing? Well, yeah, it's a bad thing. Was losing money on that asset a bad thing? Well, probably. The lesson I learned out of it, was it a good thing that turned that negative situation into a positive? Yeah, 100%. And so I think in gratitude, you turn everything that is a perceived
Mhm.
loss or issue into an opportunity or a lesson. And based on how you rehearse gratitude is how fast you learn the lesson and how fast you get the opportunity ahead of it.
It's so powerful. Do you journal, Eddie, or you just process? How do you do this? How do you pursue the gratitude?
I journal often. I meditate a lot in the morning, pray, meditate, and then I spend some time journaling and try to look back at things. And then I just really believe that, we cannot live in the past. We have
Yeah.
to always be pushing forward. And so, I just, in my journaling, I'm really cognizant of the fact that are my thoughts still on yesterday or are my thoughts
Yeah.
on tomorrow? And so I'm really aware as I'm journaling, because as I journal and kind of free journal, like I'll just write my thoughts. I'll write the things that I'm irritated about, the
Hmm.
things I'm frustrated about, things I'm happy about. It's kind of
Brain
got a
dump.
process I go through. And in that, you'll start to see where you truly are. You'll see your subconscious coming out on the page, and you realize, oh wait, I'm still stuck in yesterday. I'm
Mm,
not over that. I need to find gratitude. Let me find something that I can be grateful for in what I'm writing right now.
mm. It's powerful. It's interesting. I was had an interview earlier today with a guy named Stephen Purim,
Mhm.
and he lost his son. He has a book called Walk On,
Mhm.
and he actually was talking about this. That gratitude was one of the things that helped him grieve through
Sure.
that. And it's interesting you bring up your mom
Mhm.
because she was the same situation. How old was your sister when? I mean,
So I lost both a sister and a brother. So my sister, she was young. She was 4.
okay,
I was 6. And then my brother was 18 and I was 24. And so,
wow,
yeah, I lost 2 siblings. And my as difficult as that is to lose a sibling, I can't imagine losing a child.
a
And then
child, yeah.
parents have lost 2, and yet they're the sweetest people on the planet. They both crush it in business. They're grateful, they're givers, like, they're just amazing people.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I should have them on here,
You
huh?
should. Somebody should for sure.
Have they written a book? They should write a book, maybe.
No, they stay out of the limelight as much as possible.
Yeah.
They try to avoid all of this. My father's a man of few words, and my mother, we have what's called the Aspire Tour, which is a big business tour that is touring the nation right now. And my mom comes out quite a bit for that and works my nonprofit booth just so that she can hang out with me during the events. But yeah, she'll stand out there and represent, impact others, and
If I ever come to one of your events, I'm gonna find your mom.
oh, many people do. And she is not shy about telling everyone that she's my mother. So it's not hard to find her.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store. It's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. So your parents have really, really shaped who you are.
They have. Yeah, they have. And no matter what, whether somebody grew up with kind of poor
Yeah.
parents or no parents, like that early childhood experience does shape who you are.
Mhm.
But more importantly, what you do and what perception you have about that childhood
Sure.
shapes. Like, was if you went back into my childhood and you went to my parents, would you find them being perfect, and would you find them doing everything well? No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, for
There are
sure.
massive issues in my childhood? Yes. Is there huge loss in my childhood? Yes. Is there bad things that happen? Yes. it's not about that. It's about the perception. And so,
Mhm.
yes, they shaped me, but my thoughts and my perceptions about what I experienced shaped me even more. The
Mm.
personal responsibility of perceiving what it
Mhm.
is that I was what it is that I receive from them is on me, and it's on every person individually.
Eddie, is that something that is taught, or is that personality?
I think it's something taught, and I think it's something that we can all adapt to.
Mhm.
I think some people are naturally positive in their disposition and they see things. I'm not. I'm very analytical. So it's
Mhm.
easier for me to look at something and see the downside than to see the upside, right? I would say that I exaggerate sometimes when I say I'm a realist because all I'm trying to do is just raise above being a pessimist. But it's like, I think I'm naturally a little bit on the negative side. I push hard into the positive side. I think I land in the real, kind of
Yeah.
the middle, which is what would be called realism. But I think that for me, it's an exercise. That's why I use the word rehearse a lot. Like I rehearse gratitude. It's not something that I
Okay.
just do naturally. It's something that I rehearse on a daily basis.
Yes, I'm the opposite. For me, everything is
Mhm.
always great, and
Yeah,
then I get
yeah,
blindsided by stuff I should have seen.
yeah, for
That
sure,
stuff that someone that looking at data and stuff sees coming, and I'm like,
for sure.
oh,
Yeah,
I know better. But I'm always positive about it, so it always and it generally works itself out.
it does.
Um, or you can work it out in your mind because you've got the attitude of gratitude and you realize, yeah, we got to shut this company down, but there's other opportunity over here, so we move on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Uh, I want to talk a little bit about your in looking at your stuff online. You are all about time,
Mhm.
um, and time being the thing. This is my perception from what I've looked at. Time being the thing we should aspire for, not wealth, and not just generating stuff. Right? It's all we get the time by getting wealth, and then we take that and we apply it to purpose. Kind of like.
I would say I would make a slight differentiation to that. In that the three words I'm constantly battling through and living in is time, wealth, and purpose. You used
Mhm.
all three words. I think that we need to intentionally live a life of purpose. But
Sure.
the only way to actually live a life of purpose is to actually control our time.
Mhm.
Right? And if we focus on our time, then we can ultimately, and I think that most people are focusing on wealth, thinking, well, I want to do good for the world. I want to do this thing
Yeah.
that, I want to, whatever it is, help children, build orphanages, whatever it is, dig wells. And I think that there's a lot of, good intentioned people. I think then they focus on, oh, but I need resources to do that. And they focus on the resource of money or wealth. I believe that to the degree that you spend your time wisely, wealth will come,
Mhm.
and ultimately purpose is gained, or you kind of climb the ladder of purpose. So
Sure.
I would say that you have to have kind of like this mindset of I know the end, and the end is purpose.
Sure.
And today, in order to get to that purpose, I'm going to focus on time. And in that journey of focusing on time, wealth begins to amass,
Mhm.
and my definition of wealth is a little bit different than most, but wealth will amass. And then in that wealth, I'll begin to grow and begin to exponentially walk in my purpose.
Sure. No, and I think that's really good. I feel like for myself, like I've always been somewhat purpose driven, but you can become so much more as you buy back your time,
Hmm.
as you gain that time back.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
and it's just freedom. It's freedom to do what you want. And I think we all have a purpose we want to aspire for, but so
Hmm.
many people are sucked into a W-2 and they're giving someone else their time.
Yeah. I think that the big misnomer, I spend a lot of time with real estate investors and private equity investors, and most of them are pursuing these things because they want freedom.
Hmm.
Most people, if you ask them, what do you actually want at your core? And they want freedom. I think that what happens is my business partner and I, we were interviewing Mike Tyson for one of our events, and we were sitting there just talking. And my business partner, he always has this sign, and it says, "Money is blank," and he basically hands the person the sign, and that's the podcast he does, right? And it says, "Money is," and whatever money is to you, you write it down, then you explain it. And he did that with Mike Tyson, and Mike said, "Well, what do people write? Money is what?" And he was like, my business partner said, "Well, a lot of people write freedom." And he started laughing and smacking his leg, like, and he's kind of crazy anyway. So like, we were kind of backing up, like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And he said, "That's the that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." He said, "If people think that money is freedom," he was like, in chasing money, he said, he said, "I've never been more in bondage than
Yes.
when I've been chasing money." And that's what I think that most entrepreneurs miss, or real estate investors, or whatever. They miss it because they think, "Oh, the more money I have, the more freedom I get." It's actually it's the opposite. It's
Mhm.
like the more time you have, right? Pursuit of time is true freedom, right? And then when you have the freedom to become who you are intended to be, then oftentimes money just follows, And
Yeah.
so it's a fascinating concept because so many people are so hyper focused. My dad used to say this. He used to say, "Eddie, if time's your most valuable asset, why don't you spend the most amount of time managing your time than managing your money?"
Mm.
And he would say to me, "How often per day do you think about your bank account, your money?" He said, "Versus your schedule. Like, do you think about your schedule as much as you think about your bank account?" And that's interesting because, like, if you go into a company, I have what's called the business operating system called Empire that 3,000-4,000 companies globally operate on. One of the big components that we focus on is that in business, you have typically a CFO. That CFO's
Mhm.
responsibility is your finances, right?
Mhm.
But if time is your most valuable asset, who's responsible for the time in that business? Because every person represents a finite amount of time to do a finite group of things.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of that? And do you have the same type of systems for your time in your business
Mm.
versus the money in your business? So you have a CFO, and you have conversations every week about your money. It's like, but who do you have conversations with about your time? Because every person represents a finite amount of time.
Yeah, that would be a huge thing to audit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess some companies do. I'm thinking of Compound Effect. He talks about doing that,
Mm-hmm.
tracking it.
He
Um,
does.
but yeah, you hone in on that. How do we save time? How do we save 10 minutes, an hour?
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because and you've had so many employees. A lot of
Yeah.
time is lost every day, and stuff that
Every day.
doesn't move a
So,
dollar.
yeah. It's waste. If you actually, so we do a lot of things to manage time properly, in our business, and not to the degree that it becomes overbearing, but understanding every minute of somebody's time should have an output tied to it. So if you measure
Mhm.
the output, you typically can tell how much time they've allocated towards something. And so, you can timestamp things.
Sure.
You can look at it that way. But really, it's interesting because we get very hyper focused in business on, like, well, did I spend too much on X, or did I overspend here, or are we spending too much percentage here? It's like, well, what if you did that with your time, right? Like, what would
Mhm.
happen? And I'll tell you that most businesses are either in one of two situations. Either they just don't have enough revenue. More time dedicated to revenue driving activities will drive more revenue,
Sure.
or they don't have enough output with the revenue that they have received, right? And so that would be the fulfillment side of business. And time solves both.
Yeah, and we all want more of it, but
Hmm.
but we have this little thing that sucks
Yeah.
it. wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways in which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.